If you're into fitness, I'm sure you're aware by now the jumping rope is experiencing a huge resurgence. So with learning to jump rope comes leg pain. So in today's video, we're going to cover the 8 tips to help you protect your legs, keep them healthy, so you can stay out there, keep jumping and see results. So stick around. Hey everybody, I'm James. I started this channel because one day I woke up and realized I was 43, but felt like I was 83. Every day my body could do one less thing than it could do the day before. So if you're like me and you've had enough, then put on your shoes and welcome to getting stronger. Okay, so jumping rope. When people begin to jump rope, one of the first things that they always mention is that their legs start to hurt. So today we're going to cover the 8 tips on how to keep your legs nice and safe and injury-free. And whenever I watch a YouTube video that has a list, I always want them to just get right to the list and tell it to me first. So I'm going to do that for you now, and then we'll go back and I'll expand a little bit on each of these 8 tips individually. So tip number 1, learn how to do an effective warm-up. Tip number 2, get comfortable shoes. Tip number 3, get a nice mat to jump off of. Tip number 4, prevent overtraining. Tip number 5, check out and use compression sleeves. Tip number 6, learn proper jumping technique for jump rope. Tip number 7, start lifting weights. And tip number 8, really give your body an appropriate amount of time to recover. Okay, so now that we got the list out of the way, isn't that helpful when people do that? I think so. So let's go back and I'm going to expand a little bit and explain each of these points. Okay, so you're learning to do an effective warm-up. I think some of you guys out there are getting the impression that doing warm-ups aren't important, and part of that is because you're getting a lot of your fitness advice off of social media platforms like YouTube. That's great, I guess, in some ways, or you wouldn't be watching this video. But in some ways it's bad, or one of the negative things is that YouTube content creators, we realize that a lot of you guys are just simply not watching long portions of videos. So we're having to compress something that in real life will take like an hour-long coaching session, and we're compressing it into 10 minutes, and even then you're only watching like 2 minutes. So what we start doing is we start throwing stuff out of the video, and the first casualty is almost always the warm-up. But please understand, warming up has always been, is, and will always be a critical part of an effective workout. It really gets your muscles nice and loose and warm and get your blood flowing. So please take the time to learn how to do an effective warm-up. I'm actually going to do a video coming up soon where I take you through a good 10-15 minute long warm-up protocol. Okay, so tip number 2, wear comfortable shoes. It's crucial, right? Because we're jumping up and down hundreds and thousands of times. And every time we hit the ground hits back, right? And it throws force up our legs. When we wear nice, comfortable shoes like this with cushion, it really helps to kind of reduce and absorb a lot of that shock, a lot of that force coming up from the ground. And when we're not wearing these shoes and it's not providing us that cushion, our knees and our hips and our ankles are absorbing all of that cushion. And that's no good for long-term joint health. So please get some comfortable shoes. Okay, so tip number 3, it's the same thing, right? Get a cushion to jump off of. I absolutely love jumping off of a mat. I jump for long periods of time, and it's the same thing, right? I'm protecting my joints. When I'm jumping, that ground's hitting back, and something has to absorb that force. It's gonna be either my joints or it can help be the mat. If you wanna know what kind of mat I'm using, leave me a comment down in the comment section below. I'll tell you the kind of mat I'm using, why I chose it, the advantages and the disadvantages. Tip number 4, avoid overtraining. Now overtraining is really easy to do these days because we're all home, we're all locked down, and we've got a lot of free time that we're not used to having. And so we're filling it with extra workout sessions. So my tip to you is really set a limit that you're only going to jump once a day. If you're going to work out more than once a day, that's fine, but don't jump more than once a day. Jump once, do some strength training once a day, do some resistance bands training once a day, do some yoga once a day, whatever. Work out as many times a day as you want, but only jump once. Another thing you can do to prevent overtraining is really set limits with the intensity, right? So my recommendation as you begin is take a minute and break it up. Do 20-second work, 40-second rest. Then after you get comfortable with that, after a few weeks, go to 30-second work, 30-second rest, and then do 40-second work, 20-second rest, and then cycle back, right? Look at your training intensity as like easy, light, heavy, right? Easy, intermediate, hard. You can't always be at hard. You can't always be on the gas. You got to let your body cycle back to that light, easy phase, and that will really go a long way with keeping your legs nice and healthy for the long term. Okay, so tip number 5, compression sleeves. So these are examples of compression sleeves. So I wear this for my elbow because I have tendonitis, and then I have 2 of these that I got from Rogue Fitness, and I wear them on my knees whenever I'm really doing a long jumping session. These things go a really long way to providing your joints some stability, keeping your muscles nice and warm, and keeping the blood circulating. So if you've never heard of these things before, check them out. They're called compression sleeves, and they're really fantastic for long-term joint health. Okay, so tip number 6, learn proper jumping technique. So our bodies are awesome, right? They actually have like a built-in suspension system. It's called the muscles in our calves, right? So when we jump up and down, the muscles in our calves absorb a lot of that shock coming up off the ground. But that's only if we're using proper form. If we're not, then all of that shock goes around our calves and it jams right into our knees and into our hips. And that's no good for long-term leg and joint health. So really learn proper jumping technique. I'm going to make a video coming up here soon on how to properly jump. And jumping is different for every sport. How you jump in jump rope is different than how you would jump in volleyball, basketball, or high jumping. So stick around and look out for that video. Okay, so tip number 7, lift weights, right? So your joints are just intersections where bones meet, and around those intersections are muscles, tendons, and ligaments. The more you work out, the more you strength train and lift weights, the stronger those muscles, tendons, and ligaments are going to be. And the stronger they are, the more secure and the more stable your joint's going to be, and the less likely you are to experience pain or any kind of injury. Strength training exercise you really want to focus on is calf raises. Calf raises are really going to start building muscles in your feet, ankles, and in your calves, and that's going to go from miles and miles when it comes to protecting your legs and joints when you start jumping rope. And tip number 8, making sure that you give your body appropriate times to recover. Recovery is when and how everything rebuilds and resets. Some basic tips for how you can start the recovery process: stretch, hydrate, eat something, give your body proper nutrition. Other things you can do is use those rubber or metal or plastic things that you can kind of give your calf muscles massage for itself, right? Get a lacrosse ball and just rub that lacrosse ball into your calf muscles and really kind of loosen up a lot of stiffness there. Taking hot showers, that's always going to help. But then really, it's just time. Give your body time to recover. So that's it. I promise you, if you follow these 8 tips, you will protect your legs. You won't experience much pain at all. It'll protect you against injury. I'm 44 and I can jump 5-6 days a week for an hour at a time. And the intensity is hard too. I'm jumping for 100 to 150 double unders. I'm jumping 5, 8, 10-minute long intervals. And I don't really have any pain, discomfort, or injuries in my legs. But I really believe it's because I follow these 8 principles religiously, like they were the 10 commandments. Oh, I should have made 10 tips. So that's it. That's it for today's video. If you found this video helpful in any way, please give us a big thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, continue to follow along, and leave comments down in the comment section below. Let me know, did you try any of these tips? Are they helping? Leave me some ideas for things you'd like to see us discuss on the channel coming up in the future. You can also follow us on our Facebook page, Keep Getting Stronger. There you could post videos, show us your progress, ask questions, make comments. I promise you, I will get back to you. So until next time, remember as always, Psalms 139 verse 14, each and every one of us were fearfully and wonderfully made, and we came from the hand of our Creator above. And our Heavenly Father tells us that above all things, He wishes for us to prosper and be in good health. Our Heavenly Father loves us, and He wants us to have a fantastic life. But we have to do our part. That means every day choosing to eat well and getting outside and getting some exercise. So for the rest of this day, whatever you eat, whatever you drink, and whatever you do, just keep getting stronger. And I'll see you guys back for our next episode.